Hey everybody, this is Minion Soldier and this is Ship Updates. Now, this week as far as updates go, it was pretty darn sparse, but obviously the reason behind that is with CitizenCon coming up and so much work being done to prepare for that, there's not going to be a lot of ship updates, and since a lot of the ships that are being made are done in the UK and this week was out of Santa Monica or LA office, there wasn't a lot of ship information, but what there was really, really good, and it's a great episode to watch. But I did pilfer some footage from it, so, well, I am a pirate after all. So here we go. We'll take a quick look. I've basically taken all the footage of the Caterpillar, and so what they're talking about in the video when you're seeing the Caterpillar is how the Caterpillar is apparently going to be the new style guide for Drake going forward. So this is going to be the basis on which all further Drake ships are going to be based, and maybe that kind of speaks to a little bit of why the command module got a bit of a redo, and with all the reworking of the Herald since forever, really. Now that this ship is considered the style guide, when for the longest time it was the Cutlass was the style guide, not the Caterpillar, and now we're seeing the new cockpit and the new command module, and it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with Drake ships going forward, because as you know, the Cutlass is due for a remodel, and if this ship is now the new style guide, what does that mean for the Cutlass, and what could possibly change with the Cutlass going into the future? So things could get very interesting for the Cutlass, but honestly, what I want to do is on Monday on the Piracy Show, I kind of want to talk about the Cutlass, and I want to talk about my hopes and ambitions with that ship, and what I feel, in my opinion, should happen with that ship going forward, depending on the severity of the remodel. I don't want to use the word severity, but depending on how far they want to go with the remodel, I have some ideas that would probably make an overall improvement to that ship. Now, beyond that, of course, since it was the LA office, there wasn't a lot of information about ships, really, in this week's episode. And this week's RTV mostly dealt with character modeling and all that, which, of course, in its own realm is interesting, but this is ship updates, so it's not really the topic of the show. But some of the things that we have garnered over the last few weeks is that, of course, the Carrack was the next ship in line after the Caterpillar. But given last week's ATV episode where they were talking about being excited to work on the Carrack, and since Gurmukh Bhasin has departed CIG and he was slated to be the guy who did the Carrack since he was the one who did the original concept, then what does that mean for the future of the Carrack? Could the Carrack be going in, sooner just because now the Caterpillar is out of the way? Now that's all speculation, but I think it would be a healthy gamble to say that the Carrack is going to end up in the UK. So possibly for the Carrack owners, things are looking up, and maybe it might start a little bit sooner. Now, we were originally told that it was going to start back in June, and then it kept getting pushed back, so who knows? Maybe it's the new Herald, hopefully not. I know it's a bad joke to make, but these things do happen. And so I'm hopeful that we're going to find out some information soon, hopefully at CitizenCon. I mean, there's going to be a lot of stuff at CitizenCon. We pretty much know that we're going to see the Polaris at CitizenCon, hopefully with a sale, and a general sale and not a limited quantity sale that will just cause endless amounts of rage in the community. But we're getting that, and hopefully it'll also coincide with the release of 2.6. Now that's not a guarantee, and we have not been told that, but we got 2.5 with Gamescom, so 2.6 with CitizenCon would be pretty cool, which would mean then we would have a flyable Herald and a flyable Aegis Vanguard Hoplite, which is the drop ship of the Vanguard family, the recently revealed fourth variant of the Vanguard. So hopefully, I believe CitizenCon is October 9th. So basically like a month away, we should be finding out a whole lot of information about ships going forward, and maybe even getting some concrete details on the release date of Squadron 42. Fingers crossed. So overall, that's about it for ship updates, but I did come prepared with another topic just because, truthfully, this was a situation that was bound to happen again within this time period between Gamescom and CitizenCon. So one of the things I wanted to talk about, because there's been a whole bunch of new subscribers that have come in, and what I plan to do with this channel going into the future. Now, some people have expressed disappointment that I don't create more shows and I don't create more content. And the reason why I don't do that is because there really, and I want to say this, not like, I'm not trying to say this in a snide or, dickish manner, but there really isn't a whole lot of game right now to do content on. And the things that interest me, the things that I want to talk about, are not in game yet. And one of the things that I want to do with this channel is not in game yet, but possibly is going to be in game in some fashion in the near future. So what I plan to do in the future, and this mission here is kind of an example of a possibility in the future. So let's say you're me, and you're doing a mission here. You're trying to get enough. You're trying to scratch together enough money so that you can buy the next ship up. Let's say you want to move up to a Freelancer or a Constellation, but there's a big money obstacle in your way, and you're grinding missions, and you're just like, oh man, I just want to get this done. I want to get in my Connie, yada yada yada. So you're doing this mission, and all of a sudden pirates appear. So you're thinking, okay, you know what? I'll just take these pirates out, complete the mission, no big deal. But in the wreckage of one of the pirate ships, let's say there's a crate of space cocaine or space weed or some illegal good that we already know there's going to be contraband goods in the Star Citizen universe. Let's say the ship drops all that. Now you, as a legitimate law-abiding player, realize that you can get arrested, or you can get criminal standing for transporting that stuff, but at the same time, realistically, you're looking at it and you might say, well, that one crate is worth like 100,000 UEC. That could cut like a week off of my grinding, or that could cut hours off of my grinding, relative to how prices are going to be, which we can't really speculate on in the Star Citizen universe yet, because we don't know exactly what shape the economy is going to take. But let's say, obviously this represents a huge opportunity to you, and so you want to take advantage, but at the same time, you don't want to get criminal standing. And so what I've done with my account is basically I've kind of split a little piece off and moved it aside. And what I plan to do is I plan to create a character that kind of skirts the law and gives me access to the more legal parts of the Star Citizen universe. And it allows me to kind of explore the soft side of criminality in the Star Citizen universe, and hacking, information running, and those kinds of quasi-legal things, and to create guidebooks for players who might run into situations where obviously, here you go, you got a crate full of space cocaine, and you want to unload it, you want to get the money, but you don't want to take the criminal standing. What's the best way to go about that? And I want to create videos and like guides as to how you can do that, and who maybe the contacts are you're gonna want to make in the game, so that you can unload it somewhere safe and not somewhere where you're going to get double crossed, and so you can walk away with your money and not take criminal standing. Or let's say a situation like this situation right here. You're fighting NPC pirates, and another pilot is there with you, and maybe you're not friends, but then all of a sudden, whoops, he crosses in front of your guns. You hit him, and all of a sudden you get flagged as a criminal. Well, you didn't do it intentionally, but still, there you are with criminal standing. You don't want to get hunted down by the cops. You don't want them to open fire on you and ruin your day and possibly ruin your grind, because this guy just keeps flying in front of my guns. So you're what do you do? How do you get rid of that criminal standing and, basically erase what was an honest mistake? And I want to create, videos on how do you, maybe hack into a security satellite and change your criminal standing without basically having to pay the price for what really was just an innocent mistake. And so that's kind of the content that I want to create moving forward on this channel. But once again, that is all contingent on these systems being in game. And right now I feel that if I were trying to create content based on what we already have now in game and what you can do, it would be very dry and very repetitive content. And hopefully with 2.6, with the release of the Herald and supposedly Grim Hex getting hacking booths, we're going to see the preliminary or the very nascent version of hacking in game. And so we can start to explore that and start to do videos on that stuff. And that's what the piracy show eventually is going to be, like actual piracy and actual criminality. Or I might just retitle it, but that's all, that's in the future, and that's all contingent on how the game develops. That's where this channel is going. And hopefully, you guys will join me for that. But once again, yeah, it's in the future. So like a lot of things, Star Citizen, we just have to be patient and wait. And trust me, if you're sitting there going, yeah, well, I want to see those videos now, and trust me, I want to make those videos now. It's just we're not there yet. Anyways, that's it for ship updates. I did pilfer a little topic from the piracy show to kind of fill out this episode, since it was kind of sparse, but it is topical. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.
Quantum travel initiated.